When you think of the word debt, you most likely think of credit card debt, so money that you owe to a bank or someone. But there's a more dangerous type of debt, and it's dangerous because it's invisible. And this type of debt has ruined so many areas of my life that I wanted to share this important lesson with you. And this type of debt is called ignorance debt. And ignorance debt is extremely dangerous. It can affect all areas of your life. It can affect your health, your relationships, your work, everything. And so to put it simply, ignorance debt is basically the cost of not knowing something which would otherwise have been important for your decision making. So just to put it even more simpler, it's the cost of not knowing something. And so the idea that ignorance debt is really getting at is that we don't know a lot of things. We don't I don't know so many things in the world. And it's like, if I don't know all these potential variables in my life, how can I make the best decision every day? How do I know I'm going down the right path if I don't even know all the different variables out there? I'm kind of just going down a path without actually knowing which direction I'm going down, because there's so many missing information that I have. And so the thing with ignorance debt is it can be very easily visualized with a simple thought experiment. So there's this common pick which option thought experiment, which is would you rather get $1 million, or would you rather go back to your 1-year-old self and live life again, but with the knowledge of what you have now? And most people would pick the second option. They would want to go back to their younger selves, but retain all the information they know now. And the reason is because if they had all that information, all that wisdom when they were very young, they would have gone through life in a much different way. And that's the idea of ignorance debt. When we know more, we make better decisions, we end up achieving our goals, we end up having better health, relationships, work, everything. But when we don't have all this information, when we have so much ignorance debt, it cripples our lives. And so there's many examples where you can see ignorance debt really play out. For example, you might know someone from school or work that just refuses to learn any new skills. But over the course of a few years, they're going to pay with missed opportunities, and maybe they just end up being obsolete in their industry. And there's an online entrepreneur called Alex Mosey who puts it in another interesting way, which is, if you don't know how to make $1 million a year, it's costing you $1 million a year not knowing how to make $1 million a year. So it's a very interesting way of thinking, because it shows you that ignorance debt has tangible outcomes. It is this hidden thing, but it affects you daily. And so the thing is you don't know what you don't know. And so the worst part about ignorance debt is that it becomes invisible until you reach a crisis. And so for me, when I reached the lowest points in my life, I thought I was just, a failure. When I didn't get into the school I wanted to, when I didn't get into the course I wanted to, I just thought that I just wasn't cut out for it. But what I realized after a lot of reflecting was I could have predicted my outcome years before, because I just had so much ignorance debt that the outcome of failure was almost guaranteed. And so the cost of ignorance debt is it just grows silently. Every missed opportunity, inefficient process, outdated strategy adds up over time. So that's the idea of ignorance debt, that the cost of not knowing something is oftentimes very big, and it can affect your life in many ways. And so the takeaway that I have here is that the solution to pay off your ignorance debt is very simple. It's learning. We can't have a time machine to go back to when we're young, so the second best option is just learning. This is why over the past year, I've spent thousands of dollars on just courses, learning how to enter flow, YouTube courses, communication, sales, all these different skills, because I'm basically paying someone with much more wisdom than me to basically give me their knowledge, so I can pay off my ignorance debt on whatever field or skill I'm trying to learn. And I still got a long way to go. But this, like, for me is like the first step. So and it has just provided like so much more clarity. Like, it's kind of like suddenly waking up and you realize like, oh wait, like there's this thing over there that I never realized, or it's like there's a wall here, or like there's a tree outside. Like, you end up being like able to see like things that you never like saw before, because now you're paying off the ignorance debt. You're able to see the unknown now. And the final point I'll add is just that I've been doing a lot of reflection like recently, and I realized that ignorance debt can be like so like dangerous, because it's not like credit card debt. You get like a monthly bill, your bank warns you, like if you don't pay up, there's going to be someone that chases you up. But not with ignorance debt. By the time like I noticed like ignorance debt, it already like costed me years of like lost opportunity, and most people like never escape it. So I hope that with this video you'll realize like why like ignorance debt is such a like crippling thing. But it's also a reminder for myself to make sure to like continuing to pay off this debt. So yeah, hope that was a useful lesson.